Welcome to another edition of 42 Straight Years In. On my crackhead update, Lion Willie and his pretty young lady, they came over this morning. We cooked breakfast. We sit and ate. And I left Lion Willie's old lady to sit and talk to my old lady so they can talk about girl stuff, and I want to talk to Lion Willie about some personal stuff. You know, since I've lived in this unit, I've never been up on the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth floor. I've never been up there. You know, they have a computer lab, they have a library, they have an exercise room. All this stuff is closed due to the pandemic. So we was up on the third floor. I was just looking in the computer lab. I was just thinking about, hey, I maybe could do my videos on their computer, and I can edit it and everything. And Lion Will is a sociable person. So this lady was up there. He spoke to her. He said, "Good morning." First thing come out of her mouth was, "You must want to give me some money." The man just speaking because he's sociable. I don't speak to no one unless they speak to me. I gotta know you. If I don't know you, I don't say anything to you at all. Nothing. And I'm just looking at her concept on life. And he said, "Why would I have to give you some money?" She said, "For wasting my time." He said, "Well, what about my time?" She said, "That's not important. You on the clock with my time when you speak to me." You know, I don't know if she's a crackhead or not, but that's a crackhead move. That's a crackhead concept. Everybody's trying to hustle a dollar. And the nurse that I always be discussing, she said her old man gonna come down tomorrow and we'll sit and watch NFL games together. Really, I don't want no company. But I'm just being social with these people. Really, I don't want them even in my house. But that's my crackhead update. Y'all know what it is. Get your shanks out and let's ride. Y'all had one subscriber. I was speaking of a warden being assaulted, and one subscriber asked me, have I ever seen a warden get assaulted? I've seen several wardens get assaulted. My third day at the Pulaski unit, that's the home of Texas Death Row. I had lost my custody status, and I was placed on a medium custody and transferred to the Pulaski unit. They had transferred me from the Estelle unit in Huntsville for extortion. This guy had got a lot of cigarettes and weed from me on credit. And when he got a visit from his family, he told his wife that he needed $500. She asked him why. He said, "I got to pay this guy off." So this lady went to the warden's house and told the warden that I was extorting her husband. The gang officers came right. We had just come in from the rec yard. They came right in the day room and got me and locked me up. Took me straight to lockup and charged me with extorting an inmate and reduced my custody status from minimum to medium. I was on medium custody. It's a minimum custody cell block right across from the one I live on. That's where that guy lived. So he got paranoid and went and told him again that I was going to attack him. So I was out in the hallway early one morning at breakfast, and the major walked up and handcuffed me. Took me to the chain room. He said, "You being transferred." And he transferred me to the Pulaski unit. And the way TDC policy worked, if you transfer, you receive a disciplinary for extortion. Well, they got a list of disciplinary cases. You receive any one of those cases, most likely you're going to get a reduction in custody status. So I was reduced from minimum to medium. When I arrived at the Pulaski unit, they placed me in 7 building because 8 building is medium custody and close custody. 7 building is minimum custody with a medium custody overflow. Guys who waiting on housing in medium custody got a special cell block they'll house you in until it's bed space. Well, anyway, my third day at the Polunsky unit, they transferred me and 2 white guys to 8 building. Now we was going down the sidewalk from 7 building to 8 building. We being escorted by a guard. The white guys tell me, say, hey man, I'm not going inside of 8 building. They wanted to remain on 7 building. And if you 40 years old and you on 8 building, you considered an old school. All these guys is young. They all got life sentences, 300 years, 99 years. The young guys got a lot of time. And it's real violent on 8 building. And we got, these guys was on the rec yard when we was going down the sidewalk. They all standing there looking. A couple of them spoke to me and said, hey, school, what's going on? Where you from, man? I said, I'm from Dallas. They said, well, what cell you going to? I said, I'm going to J32. One of them say, hey, that's my homeboy cell. You gonna be in the cell with little E. Man, we don't let nobody bother our Dallas homeboys, our old schools. Man, I'm not worried about these young guys, but they don't know me. And when we got to the door to go inside of a 8 building, the 2 white guys sit down on the sidewalk. They tell the guard they refuse housing. That is called refuse housing in Texas. They say, we not going in 8 building. So that means they'll take them to 11 building and lock them up and let classification decide what they want to do with it. So I went ahead in 8 building, went down to J part. The guard opened the door. I put my stuff in the cell, put my personal property inside, and I headed back to the rec yard. When I got on the rec yard, the young guys told me, say, hey, school, you might should have stayed in because we finna jump the ward. Can you handle gas? I said, yeah, I can handle gas. They said, well, we finna see if you can handle some gas. And on 8 building, they run classification for close custody. Close custody is not allowed to go over to the main warden's office, which is 1 building, for the classification hearing. So they bring the classification committee to 8 building to decide whether they want to promote those guys or leave them in the same custody status. So when the warden comes down the sidewalk, it's going to be a warden, a major, and a classification officer pushing a cart with all their records on it, with all the inmate files on it, or the guys who going in front of the classification hearing. And I don't know why this warden can't sense something ain't right on that rec yard. The Hispanic inmates just standing there hitting a handball on the wall. Normally it's a hell of a handball game going on. Guys at the weight machine is working out. Young black guys on the basketball court, they hooping and hollering. Guys got necks and you know, it's activity going on all over the rec yard. People working out. Nobody working out. Everybody just standing around. Guys dribbling the basketball, but they're not playing basketball. So I had to say, well, I'm going to see what these young guys going to do. A little small Crip guy. The Crips was the one going to jump the warden. As the warden was walking by, the little Crip guy walked up and said, hey, warden, your son suck. You know what to fill in the blank. Warden looked at him and said, what did you say? He repeated again. He said, stay right there. He said, oh, I'll be here. So he went around and came through the rec yard door and came out on the rec yard, him and the major and the classification lady. As soon as they got on that rec yard good, man, those guys swarmed that warden. They broke his jaw, kicked his teeth out, broke his shoulder, beat the major up bad. The classification lady, man, she was on the ground. That lady was just spinning it around. It was comical the way she was just screaming. Man, those guys, they could have got to her if they really wanted to. That lady was kicking and hollering and screaming. They done tore all her clothes off. And the gas started flying. Man, them youngsters are so crazy. They was shooting all that gas. They was picking it up. Picking the gas canisters up. Throwing it back at the guards. but the rec door was still open. So I sneaked off the rec yard. I said, man, I gotta get my old ass out from out of here. So I sneak off the rec yard and go back to my part. I go inside the cell and lock the door. Man, they kept those guys out on that rec yard for about 4 hours. It was hot in the summer gun. Had them in the plastic handcuffs, laying face down on that hot pavement. Finally, they started bringing them in. And after they got everybody in their cells, a young black warden, well, he later on drowned at another prison. He was in the swimming pool for the guards. He was found dead. I actually don't believe the man drowned, but that's the narrative. Anyway, he come up to the door. He said something, and they started cursing the warden out. So he went and got a gas gun, shot a canister of gas inside of that section. So they hollered back and tell him, hey, that ain't nothing. So he shoot another one. I was saying to myself, man, these young guys gonna kill me in here. All this gas. So they got smart. They went and turned all the water off. So these guys get to banging. So next, they come in and take everybody's property and place it in the day room in red sacks. So if you set a fire, you're going to burn your own personal property up. Man, and they kept these guys locked. They had what they call a Crip lockdown. They transferred a lot of them because there were so many Crips assigned to that prison. They transferred some of them. The rest of them, they locked them up. They had a 6-month Crip lockdown. And we stayed on lockdown 63 days. And they finally let us up. But it has been several wardens assaulted. At the Cofield unit, some guys tried to escape. They cut the warden's throat over there, a warden named Cousin. They didn't kill him, but they stabbed him up bad. So it was guards wardens get assaulted all the time. Now, in some videos, I speak of a warden that we call Wildcat. His name James Vernon Anderson. That's his name, but you just can call him Cat. That's how you talk to him. Say, look out, Cat, and he'll talk to you. You ain't have to say warden. You ain't got to say yes, sir. You ain't got to say none of that to him. He just like a regular old guy, but he's extremely violent. Now, I ain't never saw an inmate assault this man. During that era, you probably would have disappeared because they had a lot of disappearances back in the day. They had a big prison graveyard. They had 2 of them. And it's a lot of people buried there. So, you would see a guy and one day he'd disappear. You don't see him no more. And you look out there, you see him digging a grave. They would kill you back then because they could get away with it. There was no court action, was no prison oversight. Didn't nobody care about inmates in Texas. Texas had a self-supporting prison system. It didn't cost the taxpayers anything. So nobody give a shit about no inmate. Now you could walk up, if you had the nuts, you can just walk up and slap a warden. Very few of them would fight you back because that's a career for him. What he would do is have you placed in administrative segregation, additional charges filed on you, and he writes something in your file, or you probably do the rest of your time in administrative segregation. And I feel sorry for you if you had 99 years or a life sentence. You're going to be in there forever because Texas got guys been in, had said, 35 years. They don't even care. They would leave you in ad said. If you got a life sentence, at some point in time, if you're eligible for parole, you're going to start thinking about a release date. That's your only route out of prison is through parole. It's limited. You can go through the morgue, through the court system, or the parole system. You got 3 choices. You make the choice. Me, myself, where I live at, one subscriber say, hey, crackheads, man, this is a gated community. And it's going to be people use drugs. I don't care what environment you go in. This is a gated community. It costs money to live here. The security is Dallas police officers. They live here. They live rent-free just to work security. Now last night I went to the mailbox, and this black Dallas police officer, he was working security. So me and him started a conversation. And he told me the reason he really don't bust people for petty stuff. He said, man, my mama smoked crack. He said, she right down there now, hiding behind the 7-Eleven, hiding her son of a gun. He said, I just took her some money. I said, man, I could not see my mama sleeping on the streets. And the man had tears in his eyes. He said, man, I gave my mama a place to live. He live in a 1-bedroom unit. He said, I'll sleep in the living room and give her the bedroom. He said, she don't want that. He said, I let her live at my house before. She want crack fiends coming to my house. He said, all I can do is just provide her money and pray for her. He said, I kind of let it be known to those guys, if my mama ever harmed, I'm going to lose this police job. Because I'm going to come back and shoot every one of them. You know, that's bad. He caught the lady in the parking lot naked smoking crack. That's why he could have easily screwed that lady up. All he got to do is give her a charge for possession of controlled substance, and she'll lose her nursing license. But he said, man, if you're not harming no one, he said, I'm gonna look the other way. He said, I don't want to make another person's life miserable. You know, so all these guys are not bad. I didn't tell him nothing about my background. I just listened to him talk. I guess he just wanted somebody to let off a little steam with. Me and him talked about 30 minutes. He smoked cigarettes, so me and him stepped outside, because this is a no smoking property. But it's a side door you can go out and smoke. You can smoke in your apartment if you want to. They tell you it's no smoking. But if I pay all this rent, if I want to smoke, I'm smoking. The hell with them. Well, YouTube got some new rules now where you grade your own video. And you got to watch what you say. They don't want a lot of cursing and vulgar language. You know me, I appreciate the things that I do have. The universe is being kind to me. I don't take nothing for granted, because you're here today and you're gone tomorrow. Yeah, the person that has one eye will only thank God if he or she sees a man that's blind. Think on that, marinate on that for a little while. Y'all like and subscribe. Keep your shanks ready, because we got a long weekend. Let's get ready to ride at a moment's notice. Y'all have a good day.